Good afternoon. This is RCB News, and I am Ryan Bowling. I want to continue part 2 of the 10 myths of the Constitution of the United States of America. And I'm going to continue that right now with myth number 4. Myth number 4, it's a complicated document. It's a complicated document, guy. It's too hard to read, so don't bother. Don't even bother to read it. That's a myth. Listen to what it says here. The Constitution was written so that all Americans could understand it. Spending time to read and study it will bring increased insight into how all Americans may better unite to strengthen and support each other. Absolutely true. Now, I think that some people who have read the Constitution of the United States might get a little, because of its old English style. Some of the words are kind of like ambiguous and so forth. But if you read it enough, it's pretty easy to understand. The framers didn't write it to confuse everybody and to be mystical and deep and profound. They wrote it for everyone to be able to understand it. It's for the people, not for the governors, not merely for the governors or the politicians. It's for the people to understand. But the idea that it's a complicated document is probably something that you hear from far leftist liberals or people who are against it and want to change it or get rid of it completely because they don't want you to be knowledgeable of it. Because what you know, if you know the Constitution, you can defend it and you can resist their attempts to try to destroy it. See, the powers that be want you to be ignorant. Myth number 5, disruption is protected free speech. Disruption is protected free speech. Well, I got something to say about that one. The First Amendment protects a speaker's right to speak and the listener's right to listen. Hecklers who shout down speakers or disrupt proceedings illegally violate the rights of everyone present who came to both speak and to be spoken to. Now, you've probably heard this said by hecklers, whether it's on the left or the right, usually by the left. You see this often on college campuses where you have conservative speakers like Ben Shapiro and Denise Dusola, I may have butchered his name, who give their conservative views on a college campus, a free speech platform or whatever, and they'll get heckled and out-talked by people who disagree. And then they'll use this idea that disruption is protected free speech. Well, I'm just expressing my free speech. Now this is protected. No, it's not. You're interfering with the person's free speech itself. So how is it protected free speech by interfering with their free speech? Now, let me say something about that also on either side, because several months ago, I did a video on the Reverend Al Sharpton, and I forget exactly where he was at. But he was given some kind of a speech at some particular area that had to do clearly with what he considered to be racial. And there were people in the background that were heckling him. While he was trying to talk, you couldn't really hear anything he was saying because you could hear the hecklers in the background saying, "We don't want you here. You're racist. You this, that, and the other." And to be quite frank with you, I agree. I disagree with Al Sharpton. I don't really like his presentation. I don't really like him in what he represents. Maybe back in the 50s and the 60s, yes, when he was relevant. But I believe he's a race hustler. I believe he does what he does because he gets millions of dollars in donations from corporations and individuals who believe in this idea that blacks are being oppressed right now. In the present day, 2021 America, they're being oppressed. And so therefore, let's donate hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars to this man's corporation. That's why I believe he's rich. He's a multimillionaire, but he's a multimillionaire not because he's so bright and intelligent and he has businesses all over the country. He's a multimillionaire from the donations he gets for his organization. He's a race hustler. So whenever something happens involving a white person and a black person, he jumps on it without investigating it. So he's a race hustler. So I don't agree with much of the stuff that he talks about, if anything at all. But even at that, if you're interfering with what he is saying, then it's interfering with a person's free speech, even if you disagree with it. So I don't know if these hecklers that were heckling him or so forth were conservative or moderate Democrats or whatever. I don't know. But whatever the case may be, that's interfering with free speech. So it shouldn't be done. You know, this idea disruption is protected free speech is a myth. Okay. Myth number 6. Supreme Court interprets the Constitution. Supreme Court interprets the Constitution. Listen to this. The actual text of the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. The court is not authorized to interpret or use prior interpretations to resolve legal issues, and they oftentimes do that. The justices are supposed to apply original intent and meaning, not interpret to achieve different meanings. Thomas Jefferson saw that abuse coming and warned there should have been a check and balance placed on the court. Let me read that again. Thomas Jefferson saw that abuse coming and warned there should have been a check and balance placed on the court. Now, based on that, I would guess that there isn't a check and balance based on the court. Because I think it's the final law of the land. I'm not sure. But whatever the case may be, you have right now liberal judges trying to reinterpret the law to fit what they want. It's just like someone who doesn't want to accept the Bible for what it says. Someone has a certain lifestyle or doing a certain thing. In order to feel justified in doing it, they use the Bible. And what they'll do is they'll reinterpret the scripture. And y'all probably know what I'm talking about. They'll reinterpret the scripture to fit what they believe. But both the Old and Testament teaches explicitly against it. But they'll reinterpret it to fit what they believe. Wrong. The Bible means what it means, and the same thing with the Constitution. These justices should not be trying to reinterpret it to fit what they want. First, you got to find out the original intent of the framers. What did they really mean at the time that they wrote it? And then try to apply it to present day situations. That's the purpose of the Supreme Court, not to try to reinterpret it to fit their agenda. That's a myth. That's a myth. So that's it for this session here. Stay tuned for the third and final session on the 10 myths of the Constitution of the United States of America. If you guys have any comments, put your comment in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, share this video, and subscribe. God bless you all, and see you again on RCB News.